Welcome to Chapter 8, Managing Files and Directories for CSC 109. I'd like to start off with just letting you know that if you hear something that I've repeated in this video that I've said in previous videos, it's so that if in case someone is watching this video that hasn't watched any of my previous videos, they will understand or at least have an idea of those shortcuts or whatever it is that I am talking about. So the first thing that we want to talk about in this chapter is globbing. Now you may be going, what is globbing? That's such a weird word, all right? And I 100% agree with you. But all globbing is using wildcards to search for patterns instead of file names. So if you want to say, okay, I want to see everything that starts with the letter F. All right, you would do F asterisk. So I'm just echoing file names that start with F. All right, and now it's saying here's file 0 through file, everything. All right, and that's FIL and everything in between. All right, and that asterisk is a string. All right, it's not a single character. It's saying I want anything greater than one or greater, basically. All right, and it will then show that for you. So super powerful little tool. All right, that asterisk is mainly just used for strings, so longer stuff. If you only want to specify one specific letter, all right. Well, again, let's just show you everything we got here. All right. So if I want to say I want to see one specific thing, so we're going to echo file. All right. I'm looking for all of them that only have one number at the end. All right, one character. All right. That's when you use the question mark. So an asterisk is saying I want to see everything that multiple things long, and a question mark is only a single digit or a single spot. All right. So if I do this, it only outputs me file 7 because file 7 is the only one that has 1. If I were to do 2 question marks, it would show me all the ones that have 2. Right? And same thing if I would do 3. All right. So it allows you to say, okay, the file I'm looking for should be 5 spaces, or have 5 numbers following it, or something along those lines. So it allows you to kind of play that game. So it is really kind of nice and capable. You do have to know kind of what you're looking for. Or you have to make sure that you have everything formatted in the correct way, because if you're doing, something with date, months, and you only use single digits for 1 through to 9, and you're like, okay, it's the month, it's 2 digits. Well, it's not going to pick up those ones that are only one digit there. All right, so you need to make sure that you use O1 and O2 for everything, which personally I think is just good habit for keeping files names the same length and things like that, and also for organizing them in the correct way. But it's just something that you do need to be aware of. So asterisks are for multiple lengths of strings. Question marks are for single characters if you don't know what you're looking for. Right. And the nice thing is you could actually do this. Let's go back to my main directory. You could do this if you'd say, okay, I want to see all the folders that start with D, and then we'll throw an asterisk in there and end with S. And boom, it shows me the 2 folders that begin with D or end with S. All right, so you can actually do this in the middle as well. And you're saying, well, the last letter has to be S now. So that's why it's showing me those 2 folders. So it's really kind of neat how you can kind of throw this anywhere in between. The next one on here is square brackets, which allows us to say that we're looking for one character, but it must be certain values. All right. So again, I'm going to say, let me see all the files. I'm going to say echo, so to print out what I want. I'm going to say I'm looking for all of them that start with, no, we're going with the accounts. So we're going to say account. Actually, I could do this really cheap. I can say account asterisk because I just want every file that begins with an A because all they are accounts. But I'm going to say I have to end with A, B, or C. Square bracket there. And here it shows up. I said, okay, the last letter had to be an A, B, or C. So we have A and B. And then anything before that doesn't matter. All right, and I could have typed account all the way out, but again, I didn't need to. I could use a wildcard there. So, and you can also like mix and match these things. So you're like, okay, somewhere in that it has to have this. Right? And you can do asterisk a specific thing, and then asterisk again, and it will find anywhere that has that specific thing in it. Let's go back and do that. So let's just print out my documents here. So we've got desktop documents, downloads. All right, so we're going to look for ones that have use. So we would do echo. We'll do okay, let's do this. We can take, I think we can do capital D or lowercase d, asterisk, and then again we'll say lowercase u, asterisk. There you go. Look, I pulled up both documents and documents. So really, I mean, that was like a kind of a crazy example. All right. But again, let's just say we want to find something that has the letter S in it. So we could do echo, and then we would say asterisk, asterisk, square bracket, S, and you know what? Let's throw a T in there too. Why not? Asterisk. Boom. And it shows me everything that has an S and or T inside of it. So really kind of crazy how you can mix and match these things to be what you need. All right. The other option, actually, let's go back. Let's do that one more time. Is you can do a not command, which is an exclamation mark. So now it can't have an S or T in it. All right. Now it's not just an S or T. You know, it had to be an S or T in the middle, and it had to be if it had multiple S's or multiple T's in it, it would still, I think, show up. So that might not be the best example for you. So let's go back to that chapter 9 folder, and we can just list them. So I want to say, I'm going to again look for the accounts. So echo, we're going to say account. But again, that last letter I can't be an A, a B. Let's do an A or a B. There we go. So now it's showing me account D, H, and then HV2. All right, so it is allowing me to see, you know, kind of say I want to see this without these letters or with these letters. So again, a lot of options going on there, which is to me very neat how you can do those and kind of list things. Now, if you're paying attention, normally you're thinking listing documents or directories. That's the ls, right? I want to see all the lists in here, and I haven't been running the list command. All right, and the reason for that is if I would do that, and I'd say my ls downloads asterisk. Notice how it's showing me actually the contents of these documents. All right, it's not just saying, hey, you know, here's desktop and documents. No, it's saying here's the contents of desktop and here's the content of documents. Because how this globbing works is it's actually seeing this as multiple commands. It's basically saying, all right, what words in here begin with D? Okay, desktop. So then it's actually running ls desktop, and then it's also then running ls documents. And that's what it's doing in the background. So that's why you don't necessarily want to use the list command, the ls. You might want to use echo just to print things. So you do need to be a bit careful when you're using your globbing because you might get some unexpected results. And it's definitely best to test those types of things out prior to you know, running your script the first time and expecting it to work perfectly. Test those globs out. All right, next we've got copying files. All right, and we can do that with the cp command. So we would do cp, and actually let's go ahead and let's go back to my folder which has just a bunch of files in it. All right, so we're going to copy, we're going to do that account, and we're going to do v2. All right, and I'm going to move that to the same thing, account hv, and I'm going to make it 3 this time. All right, and now if I do run my ls command, you can now see that I've got that new file there. Okay. So the syntax for copy in the long run is cp source space destination. All right, that's what I did. All right, and you can move this folders and you can do all sorts of crazy things with that. All right, so there's a lot of opportunity there. There is also the option for the -v. All right, which does show you then that hey, this is what we've just copied. All right, and if we do a whole folder, so let's go back. So we can copy ch9 and we're going to make it to ch10. And when I do this, it's going to be mad at me because it's like, hey, you didn't do the recursive mode, right? So that means you need to have that -r on there. All right, so recursive means it's going to copy everything inside of this folder. So if I throw that -r on there, and let's go ahead and dash that v-verbose on there. Boom. All right, and now you can see it showed me every file that it actually copied, which is really nice. Now, if I do that command again and again, it copies them every time, which means it's overwriting those files. All right. That may not be what you want to do. You may only copy new files that haven't been moved yet or something along those lines. So that is where that -i comes in. -i, all right? And now it's being interactive mode. So if I just hit enter, it doesn't overwrite them. If I say yes or y, it's overwriting them, all right? So just, you know, something to be aware of. That interactive mode is really handy. All right. The other option you have is -n for no, which means basically just don't copy anything that's already there. All right, you notice nothing actually runs. So we've got that nice capability there to say no. All right. Without the I, it's basically just saying like a -y for yes. So yes, do this, copy that. All right. So just something, again, mainly to be aware of. After copying, we've got moving things. All right. So we could move a file from one location to another. Right? So I want to move chapter 8, or 8. Oh, there's no chapter 8. No. What's this? Let me get this right. All right, there we go. Chapter 9. So you're going to move chapter 9. You all are probably telling me chapter 9. All right. And then I'm going to hit tab twice so I can see my files. I'm going to say file 00, and I'm just going to move that right to my home directory. All right. So I'm going to say file 00. So I'm moving it from within this folder to outside that folder. Boom. So if I do ls right now, you now see file 00 here. And if I do ls for chapter 9, you now notice that file 00 is no longer listed inside there. All right, so that's how the move command is worked. All right, the syntax is going to be the exact same as copy. All right, and the one big thing that you might, this is kind of weird. All right, it's the whole renaming thing. All right, so when I did that, I actually basically just renamed that file. Now, again, the whole directory structure and things. So kind of nice there. You should still have basically the same options as moving as copying. We also have the options for creating things. All right, if you're going to create a 100% blank file, let's go back to, all right, that would be the touch command. So you could do touch, and then you could say, I don't know, test file. Boom, ls, and there is our test file over on the far right. Now, if you wanted to actually enter information right into that file right off the bat, another option is you could do cat with a less than or a greater than sign, less than sign, whatever sign that you want to call it. It's that one pointing to the right. And then again, you could do, we'll call it test file too. All right, and this is now actually allowing me to enter information. So I can type in hello world, hit enter, control C to exit out of it. All right, there it is. And if we cat, which is to display the contents of the file, test file, notice nothing in test file, but test file 2 has hello world in it. So that does allow you to create that right away. All right. You could also use other text editors like Nano. So you can do Nano test file 3, since it does tell me at the very bottom, hey, this is a new file, and I can then start typing again, CSC 109, control X to exit out, yes to save it, enter to save the name. And again, there's, you can see it's there. Now I can do test file 3, and boom, there it says CSC 109. All right. So there are a lot of options. Some other text editors are Get and V. V being probably one of the most powerful one there to be able to use. Now you can't just create folders using the touch command or something like that. So to do that, we're going to use the make dir command. So you do mkdir for make directory, and then whatever the file name would be. So we'll call this one called homework. All right, and as you can see, that is blue. If you remember going back to our last presentation, or last video, that folders are a dark blue color on the traditional ls command. So a lot of give and take, a lot of capabilities here in the long run. And removing files. All right, so our last thing we got to talk about is rm. So that is the option to remove. And there is no there is no trash container. Like on Windows, it's like you delete something, goes to trash, and hopefully sooner or later you empty that trash out. There is no trash. Once I remove this, boom, it's gone. It's not coming back. All right. So you need to be very careful when you're removing things to make sure that you delete it. You're only deleting things you want to do, and this is going to be especially important if you're globbing, because your glob may pull up something that you weren't expecting it to, and you might go, no, that's not what I want. All right. So it's really important. So let's see if I do rm, and I can do account, and I will throw, against square bracket, A, capital A's, and B, square bracket, and you could do A-D. We'll do that instead. All right, I'm going to throw a -i on the end of this, though, so it actually asks me, do I want to remove the empty file? Yes. 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 All right, so now if I do my ls command, you'll see that all of those are now gone. All right, so you just need to be a little bit careful when you are running these types of things. All right, so that's good. Now, if you want to delete directory, now, I think this will work because homework is empty. All right, nope, can't remove without them. So homework, we need to add the -r for recursive. All right, which basically says, hey, we're going to remove this directory and everything with inside of it, if there is anything inside of it. So that is going to be very important there. So, and that is all I've got for chapter 8. we'll see you in chapter 9.